Oh yeah, you don't
And for
need
me,
to
the
eat anything
frustration
else.
is when I'm just trying to find the regular pepperoni Hot Pocket. It's like I have to search through all the other crap. So I don't even see what they are. I just see that they aren't the pepperoni pizza Hot Pocket.
I think it's only ham and cheddar.
I have to say though, if I had seen a chicken pot pie Hot Pocket before, I know I would have seen it and bought it immediately on site.
Your pot pie radar would
Yeah.
have been going off the charts.
I mean-
There's a whole world out there for you to get into.
So-
I'm jealous. I'm kind of jealous that you get to experience it for the first time. All the Hot Pockets.
Caleb, what you need to do is you need to buy a bunch of those chicken pot pie Hot Pockets, and then like 5 years from now, sell them on eBay.
Right, collector's
Because they're
edition.
limited
'Cause they're
edition.
limited
They are
edition.
limited edition. Do they have an
There's going to be
expiration
some
date?
guy out there that's going to be like, "Oh, I really need those limited edition Hot Pockets. Where can I find them?" And they just put them up for like $100. They're going to be like, "Oh, yes, finally."
There's only one problem with that plan.
You're that guy.
And well,
He'd buy it for himself.
two problems with that plan. One, I am the guy, and number two, there's no way I could not eat them. If they were anywhere near me,
You would be the guy who
eat them.
opens them
Yeah,
up. and
exactly.
opens them. Yeah,
Exactly.
terrible collector. I don't know how we spin this into a tech show, but ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Trends with Benefits, a weekly podcast here where we gather a round table of experts to talk about the tech topics of the day or our favorite Hot Pockets and various other things. So if you're listening to the podcast, fantastic, you found us. If you're watching live, though, it is 2:30 p.m. here Thursday, and where we broadcast every week. And we're on Periscope and we're on YouTube. And we're going to do something this week just to make sure that we get to your questions. So in about 15 minutes or so, if you're watching live, we're going to take questions directly from you that are watching. And you can drop those here in Periscope. I'll track them on YouTube. And if, those of you that are jumping in here early before we get on to the starting topics that we're going to get to, if you can let people know as they head in, if they're dropping questions, just let them know that it's coming up here in about 2:45-ish. We'll get into some questions. So go ahead and drop those in. All right. Before we get started, let's go around and see who we have here today. I'm Greg Nibbler, your host. I got to say, if you're watching live, you are sitting in a very awkward position, and it makes me uncomfortable.
I'm so sorry. I can't hold myself up today.
I don't know what it is. He's
I'm
leaning
malnourished. I need a Hot Pocket.
leaning gently into
Only
the
thing that will
microphone.
help
We
him.
have
Somebody get him a hot pocket.
Caleb Dennison.
Caleb Dennison.
I want a sous vide a Hot Pocket. That's a new segment. Okay, will it sous vide? And
With
we
Caleb
just we just see if it cooks in a sous vide machine.
Okay. Well,
That's a
Caleb,
new idea.
Caleb has just
You're
discovered
welcome.
that chicken pot pie Hot Pockets are available online. So this was the big breaking news that we had before we get into the other
It's a big
stories.
Thursday today.
Yeah,
Limited
it's a
edition.
big day for Caleb.
And I'm Rick Stella.
Hello, Rick. If you had to choose a Hot Pocket, which one would it be?
Oh, geez. I like your chicken hot pocket one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I would go with, I don't know, maybe the breakfast ones because I
Yeah.
like feeling like crap immediately in the morning.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
That's a good way to start it
there's
off.
What's the worst way to start my day possible?
Yeah.
Well,
a scrambled
I
eggs
think I
hot
found
pocket.
it.
Your cholesterol can only go down.
Exactly.
Right.
I feel like
At
I can
that
only
point.
make progression in a diet if I start with a hot pocket and I just get better from there on out.
There you
Hot
go.
Pocket.
All right. And
I'm Matt Smith,
hello, Matt Smith.
resident computing editor and computing nerd.
And favorite Hot Pocket.
I have an opinion about this.
Okay.
And it is definitely not the pepperoni one,
Okay.
but it is
I don't buy
pizza
those
related.
things,
It is the sausage pizza one.
Nailed it. That is
Interesting.
exactly. That is
Well,
such a good
I
one.
think they might call it meat lovers.
Well, maybe. But
I don't know.
It's pretty amazing. Whatever it is, it's not meat. You know that.
Well, the thing is, like the pepperoni one. Somehow with the pepperoni one, you can just tell it's terrible, like meat easier
Uh-huh.
than with the sausage one. It's like whatever. It's some kind of meat crumble.
There's a lot
Like-
more
Well,
spices.
all right,
and
we
things
have to
It's
get off
grease.
of Hot Pockets.
We're 12
We
minutes
c-
away from
that-
taking questions.
That will be a whole other
there
episode.
hasn't been a single tech element. To
There is not. All right, so let's jump into some tech news here. So
We
gonna-
ordered the hot pockets online.
there we go. Tied it all back in. So there's a bunch of things we're going to get to today, including we're going to talk about the brand new Star Wars trailer. We're going to get into that here in a little bit, and several different things. There's huge news that's come out today. But the first stuff, I think we need to talk about something that's kind of been pervading over all media over this last few days, and that has to do with the Panama Papers, which to narrow it down here, just to kind of give you like a basic summation of what it is. There's a company in Panama that has apparently been running what they're claiming legal, basically offshore bank accounts for rich people to stash their money. Somebody got a hold of it was like 2.5 terabytes of information from them. Maybe it was even more. Maybe it's closer to 3 terabytes of information of theirs, and dumped it off to some journalists. And now we're finding out about essentially all of these very, very wealthy people, including like Lionel Messi. The prime minister of Iceland resigned over this. They've been stashing money in these accounts so they don't have to pay taxes. And we're getting an inside look at how the uber wealthy operate. It already sounds like it's set up for a movie to me. We were talking about this off air. Like Panama Papers, to me, is set for a movie.
Right.
I mean, I'm thinking starring Ben Affleck. It's got to be an Affleck or a Damon.
Right.
And then maybe a Russell Crowe in there. I think that's what's going to happen.
Maybe Christian Bale. Get a little like Big
Maybe a
Short
Christian
style
Bale
going on.
Yes, definitely. So this information has come out. It's going to change a lot of things, and we still don't even know what all is going to happen. But I'm curious on your thoughts on it, Caleb.
Can we change the name?
I know you were upset with that. You don't
Well,
like the name
it's-
Panama
Why don't you like
Papers.
the name?
Well, first of all, there's no paper involved. And I know that's just a technicality. There's no actual paper here.
But there's money paper.
Well, yeah, but no, not so much. Nice try, though, Rick.
What do you
Grasping
want to call it?
straws.
What do you? I mean, every scandal needs a good name. What?
I don't. Look, it's just that I don't like the name. Look, if you don't know what this scandal is all about, Panama Papers tells you nothing about what's going on. Like,
Okay.
When I first heard about Panama Papers, I was like, what? I mean, did they screw up the canal or something? I mean, it just doesn't mean anything.
I could see it as like
But
a Seth Rogen, like Panama City Spring Break Gone Wrong
Yeah.
movie or something. That could be it.
Like offshore banking gate or something, or
Yeah. What's your catchy title that you would go with?
Panama Rolling Papers. I think.
okay.
Yeah. No. That's a terrible idea. I take that back. No, it's just I think that the name doesn't suit the scandal, but it is perfect for a movie.
Right.
And I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to say Tom Cruise is gonna have to be in this.
Oh, you think it's
Allah
a
the-
cruise?
Tom Cruise.
A
He's
la
an
the
action movie guy.
a la
Wow.
the Firm. No,
Okay.
remember when he did the Firm? And actually, it was all about no.
enlighten us.
Why does there have to be a segment of this show every week where we make fun of how old Caleb is? I kind of feel like that's become a thing. No, there is a way maybe young Tom Cruise could have done this, but you're right. He's past this now. We got to. Who's filling in for young Tom Cruise anymore? Do we have an equivalent?
I don't know. Zac Efron? Is he kind of the new? I don't know. I don't.
Young Tom Cruise.
Young
I
Tom
don't know.
Cruise? I'm not sure.
I can't take him seriously.
Well, anyway, this has come out though. It is going to change a lot of things. Like I'm curious to see what we're going to see of who else is going to get exposed from this, and it definitely shows the value of encrypting your data and upgrading it. So they came out with how they got hacked. Apparently, they were using a 7-year-old version of Outlook and some way unupdated WordPress modules and some Drupal modules that were just completely outdated, and they think that's how they got into it. That's how someone easily got in. Encryption is important, as it turns out.
What I find amazing is that there was so many, it was this league of journalists, right?
Uh-huh.
And there were so many of them involved. And as they became involved, they realized that, what was going on in their own backyard was like a really big deal.
Right.
And I'm sure like Brazilian journalists were like, oh, come on, you have got to let us come out with this story. And, for a year they kept saying, no, just wait, just wait, just wait. So this was a long time in the making, 11,000 documents or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much more that they're probably still going
I don't
through.
think that we've even come close to starting to digest what's coming out of it.
I will say, if you go to digitaltrends.com too, there's a link on our site, and I'll put it in this podcast post when we get it up. There's a link where you can play the role of an uber wealthy either businessman, soccer star, or president who's trying to hide their money, and it's like a choose your own adventure of how to launder money. It's pretty informative, actually. I only successfully did it once as a businessman. I bribed
then you were
somebody.
caught?
Yeah. You try to bribe people. It's like, okay, you bribed this person. Uh-oh, journalists found out about this. And then it's pretty amazing.
Those pesky journalists.
But along the security front, there is this other thing that came out today, and I just found this interesting. I don't know if you guys will or not, but it's Dell's SecureWorks, which is apparently an arm of their company, publishes this every year, where it's an annual underground hacker market report. And they go through, apparently they've got some experts who go through a year and go through all kinds of places on the dark net and try to find out what things cost and what's available out there if you were willing to pay for these things illegally. And
Like a kidney or a liver or a
well, not they didn't cover that part.
bag of drugs.
It was more like if you want to hack into somebody's Gmail account, you can do so
for $130, right?
$129.
Yeah.
Yep, $129
Gotcha.
bucks. You can do that, and
Was
or
this a guess, or did you already?
I saw that.
okay, yeah, I was like, that was damn good. How do you know this? Like,
Anyways,
check
next
my
topic,
Gmail account.
yeah.
Is this also where they tell you can find out if somebody's on Tinder for $5?
I don't know.
Is
I
that
did,
an
I didn't
unrelated-
hear
Not
about that.
much. But yeah, it's kind of funny because sometimes, like, when we write security articles, like, we inevitably get these comments from people that are like, so for some reason they think you've written a security article, so you must know hackers, and so they'll just like send you emails or comments or like, I need to hack my ex-wife's like email account.
Really?
Like, how
You'll
do I
get
do
emails
it?
like this?
Oh yeah, I've got emails like this on multiple occasions, and so and this is the market. Like, like the people who are out there looking for this, they actually can get it.
Yeah.
For $130, I think was a Gmail account
Yeah.
hack. Although I think it should just be said that when we say hack, we're not talking about them like accessing Google servers in all likelihood. We're probably talking about like a social media attack or where they guess the password or something like
Right.
that. But nonetheless, it's probably a little cheaper than you might have thought it would be.
Yeah.
It's really not that much money to get these hackers.
I have a
to
legit question. Is
work
the
for ya.
is the dark web the same as the deep web, or is the dark web just part of the deep web? Or
I honestly don't remember. I think they're the same, but
my next question was, have you ever been to the dark web?
I've
or
not.
the deep web. Do you tour?
no, actually, I do
Touring
very,
is a
I
thing.
do
Tour,
very
bro?
little of that stuff. It's just never
Bro,
interested
do you
me.
even tour?
No, bro, I don't tour.
I've never toured. I kind of want to, but I'm kind of scared. Like,
Yeah.
what happens when you go there? I kind of feel like once you go there, like, all the hackers instantly hone in on you.
Right.
And you give them a reason to
They'll
pay
know.
attention to you.
It's like noob. Let's get him.
Exactly.
You can't find your way back out again,
Right.
What have I done?
They're all in some secret chat room and they're
All
like,
wearing hoodies.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
check this guy out.
Well, this report came out, and I guess you can even buy bank accounts with money already in them. I don't know
Yeah.
how that works, but it's $40. You can buy a $1,000 bank account.
Yeah.
Just how that works, I do not know. And it goes all the way up to like $15,000 bank accounts. You can buy for $500. You can get 200,000 airline points
Ooh.
to a U.S.
So
based
if you
airline.
use these things,
Or no, that was less than that. I'm sorry, it was $60.
Get out. I'm on that.
$60 for 200,000 airline points.
so if you use these things, especially like the bank account, the points are probably one thing, but the bank account,
Yeah.
like once you withdraw money, wouldn't a
Flag come up.
Someone would probably notice.
Yeah.
like immediately.
So you must have to take out all of the money at once.
But-
I mean, I guess we're not going to go through how you can do it illegally, but
Let's brainstorm some ways.
now let me just say, if you're going to do so,
Right. So you put a piece of tape over the camera.
yeah, you can also get a U.S. passport for $3,000 to $10,000. That is
That actually
that
seems
is
pretty
going rate.
inexpensive for a U.S. passport.
You would think
That is,
yeah.
I think, the most expensive thing on the list by far.
Right. Yeah, it was. It was. So all of this stuff, though, and there's just a whole list of things that they went and found out. It's available at digitaltrends.com. Like I said, it was Dell's SecureWorks that put this out. Let's see. Moving on to one other topic, and then we'll hop out of the encryption and data and all that. But there was some updates on the Apple versus FBI issue that happened this week, where the FBI had come back and said, "Oh, never mind, we know how to get into your iPhone. Don't even worry about it. We're not going to bother with you anymore." And it seemed to drop everything because it was a very smug way they went about it too. Now it's coming out that actually they could get into a very, very slim amount of iPhones. I believe, Caleb, do you know a little
I
bit
know
more about this?
It was the 5C and maybe like one other, and that was it.
Yeah.
And at that, it wasn't like a full-on hack. Like, they can access a couple bits of information, and that's really it.
Yeah.
Which just, for me, that blows my mind because they pummeled Apple in the public's, eye. Right, took them to court. They were ready to absolutely take it to the very end. And
I mean, they called off the trial the day of because that person stepped forward and said they were going to help get into the phone.
I mean,
Yeah.
how convenient that
Right.
it was the exact same day that they were going to go to trial. Oh, wait, we've got a way.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I mean, is it possible that the FBI was just trying to see if they could get Apple to back down?
Totally. Wasn't
And
it? Edward
could be.
Snowden tweeted something like weeks before this even went to trial that said, like, it's, he said bullshit that if they can't get into it, if the FBI says they can't get into a phone,
Yeah.
like, people know how to get into it now. They don't need Apple's help. I
Right.
think they were just trying to prove a point, or I don't even know. Maybe make Apple kind of go back on their heels or something and kind of
Yeah.
a power play on Apple, but
I'm really surprised that they're revealing anything at all.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like, it was the lead story on just about every tech site this morning. And I'm just really surprised. I'm ready for this topic to be put to bed, though.
and they haven't said what they've found yet, have they, on the actual phone? But people are now reaching out to the FBI to hack other phones now. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you know how to do it? Well, then can you help me do this?
Well, that's the thing. I want to know what they got out of it, and
Yeah.
I don't think that the
I don't think
FBI,
they're gonna say.
Yeah, no, they're not obligated to say, and that's just the thing that drives me so crazy. I want to know if they found something.
Yeah.
You don't even have to tell me what it was.
like
I would like to know
classified, right?
for real, like the
like
truth.
yes or no.
Was there something valuable on that phone after all this effort?
I doubt they'll ever say it. They'll just say that's classified. We can't tell you. Yeah, I think that's all they'll.
It's like the ending of Inception. You know, that's classified. We won't tell you.
Because if there isn't anything, they're not going to want to let you know that.
Right.
Because then that just throws away how important they made it sound.
But that's why I want to know.
Right. But that's why. Well, there's another movie. So we've already got the Panama Papers, which you didn't come up with a better title, by the way, yet for that movie. And now we've got the Apple versus FBI one.
Just
So-
They got 2 movies.
we got 2
Conspiracy movies,
We've
yeah.
got 2 movies already lined up. Damon for one, Affleck for the other one. That would be my
There you go.
vote. Yeah.
And either or directing
Doesn't
the other
matter.
ones.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
Damon directs Affleck directs
It's gotta be.
Damon's, yeah.
It's gotta be Apple versus FBI, the movie.
Right.
Yeah, that needs a better title.
Apple versus
definitely.
FBI, the movie.
That needs a much
It's
better
like the
think that's
Lego
great.
movie.
I think that's a great title.
All right, if you are watching
I'm
via
so
Periscope or YouTube, go ahead and start popping in some questions there, and I'll keep track of those, and we'll get to some of those as we go through. So let us know what you want to ask. It doesn't necessarily have to be about the topics we're covering. You can ask whatever you want. We may not know the answer, but we will attempt to give you an answer on whatever it is you want. Moving on to the next topic, though, right now, I did want to bring this up because I feel like this is something we predicted again here on Trends with Benefits that has now come to pass. And it has to do with the HTC Vive and virtual reality, about how it's going to be really hard to sell it to people until you try it. Because we've all tried it. And there's a great demo that Matt put up, too, of trying out the HTC Vive, which you can see at digitaltrends.com. Until you try it, it's really, really hard to explain what it is. And now they've come out and followed suit with what we said here, obviously, is that they are going to be setting up demos in various locations nationwide, starting this month. So there's going to be some Microsoft stores that are going to have it, and then some GameStops, and there's a whole list of different places where you can go.
GameStop?
GameStop.
Probably like a
They're gonna have
Best
10
Buy, too.
GameStops with it.
Dude, that's
Can you
gonna
believe
be
that?
That's gonna be the most traffic GameStop has had in like years. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I used to work at the one in Corvallis, and we got a lot of traffic. Basically,
Really?
only buying $1 old PS2 games.
Really?
You know, and that was it. Yeah, I mean, we.
that was me, by the way.
Oh, that was you.
I was that guy.
That was you.
I went into one. I think it was a GameStop or Game Exchange, whatever it was. Caleb knows this, and I bought a PS3 game the other day. I haven't bought a video game in years because I have a video game problem. I'll just spend all night playing them. But I went and bought one, and it was a strange experience going into one of
Did
those
you get
stores.
game shamed?
They're dreary.
I totally got game shamed because I didn't know what I was talking about. I bought Diablo 3, which is an old game at this point.
Hey, Diablo 3 is awesome.
It was fun. It was a good game.
good
I
game.
didn't know how to converse with the guy at the counter though, who just launched into explaining to me everything about the game. You know, actually, there's a really good super level that you can play, whether you can collect all of the different oranges and just like
Oranges?
yeah, the oranges. I didn't know what the oranges were. He's like, oh
Like,
no,
that's-
the oranges are very valuable. But let me tell you this: I was playing this one boss level, and this guy, so I beat him, and then another boss popped up, and I beat that one. Third one came up, I could not beat him, and I'm like, all right.
You're like,
Sweet,
can you
man.
just take my card?
I'm
I want to
like,
buy
dude,
this game.
I just want to buy. It's
Yeah.
$5. That was
Yeah.
that was my limit I was giving myself. Just give me the game.
Rick, you might be the coolest guy I've ever met that's been a GameStop employee.
I don't know how to react to that, but
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
Well, really, I mean, you're welcome.
You have to
and-
drag that down to that qualification at the end, didn't you?
I mean, that's kind of my style.
Right.
But no, I mean, I just no. I've always found like I've also worked at a place where I hated patronizing Radio Shack. I was a Radio Shack employee.
You were one of those guys.
And I really, the other Radio Shack employees, I mean, even the people I worked with, and every time I've ever gone in there to get something, it's just been like, please don't talk to me. Please don't,
Yeah, you don't want to engage.
No, I don't need batteries. Stop it. You don't need my phone number, this, that, or the other. And I've always felt like going into GameStop was kind of hit or miss. sometimes there's somebody back there that's completely cool and knowledgeable and not going to just absolutely like
chew your ear off
riddle,
all day,
yes,
yeah.
or and the worst kind of small talk,
Yep.
that you could ever get. Anyway, I'm really sad that you were never the guy at my GameStop.
Fair enough. Yeah, you should have come down to the Corvallis one.
Yeah, you know what? It would have been worth the drive.
Yeah, right,
It would have been
right,
worth the drive.
Well, that's what's going to be happening. So you can now have an excuse to go into GameStop and.
But that's
use
smart
that.
though, because I know several people here, back to our original question or topic, have said that like you don't know until you put it on, and that they were even skeptical until they put it on and they tried it, and that VR is something that you can't explain to somebody. You can almost explain video games to somebody with a controller, but you can't really explain what that is like to see VR for the first time and play
Yeah.
VR. And
Yeah,
so
until
that's-
you try it out.
right.
That's.
I am
that's
curious how well maintained those GameStop in particular. Like, I'm fine with the Microsoft store. I think they'll be okay. But the GameStop VR headsets, I'm
They
like,
have like a strip you can put on,
Like a
Otherwise
protective,
people-
like
yeah.
a VR condom or something.
Yeah, like
because like you go to
Try on, like,
GameStop, like
swimsuits.
half like things tend to be a little bit busted up. Something
Yeah.
like that.
That's
dirty.
true.
Yeah.
And
You
so
could have like little kids with
not exactly
Cheeto
the
hands.
first place
all
I
over.
would think about going and placing a thing that's like that close to my eye, with a sweaty, band.
Pink
around
eye,
it, like-
pink eye epidemic is
right.
on the
That
way.
is a good
Another
point.
thing that we
Guaranteed.
might sadly predict is a pink eye epidemic among GameStop, Vive,
Well, there's not a lot of room in most GameStop stores. Like practically speaking,
Yeah.
they're really tiny. They're
Well, I hadn't thought of that.
they're super cluttered, and you're trying to put these sensors like on opposite sides of the room, 6 feet high, right, something like that. And I just can't imagine how much stuff they're gonna have to clear out to make room for it.
Right.
Someone's like
And
looking
then-
at games and they just get smacked with a controller.
And yes, then that's the other thing. Somebody is definitely getting smacked. I'm going. You know what? I'm going to show up just to watch it all go down.
I don't know. I don't think you can implement these in some current smaller shops.
Yeah.
You would need like a separate room for it.
I don't know. Maybe
almost,
they'll
just
set up
to
a
be safe.
tent outside or something
An
like
outdoor
that.
tent,
I mean,
yeah,
because they'll
that'd be
definitely
fun.
want to make a big deal about
Yeah.
it that they've got it there.
They must have like they said they're going to put out 10 stores, which is not very many GameStops. There's hundreds of them.
Yeah.
So there must be like flagship GameStops.
That are bigger.
But
Right,
where
that are
they?
paying
What
for
are
it.
they? I've never seen
Yeah,
one.
right.
Like,
What is
are
this
they
mecca
just
they
are they
talk
like
about?
regular stores when you go in?
I think
Like-
they're in the malls that have like roller coasters.
You
in
have to
them and
beat
water
level
parks.
7 to
Right.
find out the location.
Just gather the oranges.
God, dang it.
All right. Well, so there's that happening, and another big thing that came out actually today. And Matt, I know you know all about this, and you would definitely be the most qualified person to talk about it. And it has to do with something that Nvidia came out with, and it's about taking AI to the next level. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe you can
so-
give like a layman's description of how this works.
So, last week I was at Microsoft Build, and they talked a bunch about AI, and there was some talk, I believe, on the podcast about it last week. And then this week, NVIDIA had their graphics technology conference, and NVIDIA is all about AI now, because it turns out that a GPU that does, like video games and whatever is actually also a really great way to run an AI or any other sort of deep learning multi-process application. So yeah, they came out with this not only their new architecture they call Pascal, but this pre-built supercomputer that has I think it's 8 GPUs, 7 terabytes of solid-state storage. It consumes 3,200 watts and costs $130,000. And it is it is your Skynet brain. You can just grab, and when you want to run some AI programs, you're developing something like that. You can run it right on that. And
It sounds like the Whopper from War Games. Like the computer that took up the entire room and had to have its own cooling system.
Except now it's like,
It just sits on your desk.
fits on this table. You know, it's not really that big. But it's kind of interesting. Like, we are hearing so much AI stuff this year, and it's I feel like it's kind of unexpected to be hearing it this much. Like, it's starting to get more mainstream, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of scary. Like, AI is actually starting to become like a legitimate thing. I mean, because this
Part
is
of the
also falling right
mainstream.
after the Google AlphaGo, victory. And so there's been this string of AI stuff coming out.
How different is this from like IBM's Watson thing, or is it similar vein, or is it?
I think it's a similar vein. I think it's a much more, much smaller scale
Okay.
compared to Watson. like I said, it's something that I believe it's like going to fit on this table. And $130,000. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's like not much for supercomputer sort of technology.
Right.
So yeah, it's going to be something that maybe a smaller company could, a startup or something could, invest in one of these and then start working on their AI project or program or whatever they were wanting to research.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. I mean, it's just like light years. It's happening so fast.
Yeah.
So fast, all of this.
Snap your fingers.
Right?
Would this sort of device be able to track when, say, a frozen food company came out with a limited edition
Oh, that would be easy.
Hot Pocket, and then
And
just
where it
automatically
is.
order them for
Yeah.
me and
It
bring
could
them
do
on
that
in?
in multiple ways. It could search online for it. It could, if you had cameras in the stores, it could do image recognition.
Hello,
find the
Caleb.
Hot Pockets as they're coming down the aisle.
Because you liked
If you like chicken
pot
pot
pie
pie,
Hot Pocket,
Yeah.
you might also like this curry chicken Hot Pocket.
stay here, Caleb. I'll bring you more Hot Pockets.
It brings it to you when you don't even know that you've wanted it.
Having
It's
a
like,
rough
who
day?
brought this Hot Pocket on my desk? It was like, I don't know, this robot walked in here and said, okay, this is for Caleb Dennison.
You joke, but that is where this is heading.
Right?
Hot Pocket predictive robot.
Exactly. Just uses an algorithm to think about what Caleb wants to eat today. It's always chicken pot pie Hot Pocket, so it's not that hard.
Yeah, we know that.
That's just the entry
Surprise!
level.
Yeah.
I got you another chicken pup. Oh, Al, you always know what I need.
Right.
For some reason, it's named Al in my mind. I don't know why. All right. Like I said, we'll still take some questions if you guys want to pop those in there on Periscope or on YouTube. A couple of things just to get to really quick, because we do need to talk about Star Wars, and just it's huge. It's out there. Before we do that, something else that actually may benefit future Hot Pocket lovers is a 3D machine that has come out. I know, Rick, you wrote this article. And the reason I say this is because maybe someday you can print your own Hot Pockets.
Oh, yeah.
But it is it's a 3D
glorious
printer.
time that will be.
3D machine. A 3D printer.
A 3D machine.
I'm reading two things at
This
once.
podcast is from
It
2006.
has 3D machine.
Three of the dimensions.
It has all three dimensions.
This movie Jaws.
Yeah.
It's basically an etch-a-sketch.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's a light right. So no, it's a 3D printer where you can essentially print your own robot that is ready to almost walk off of the printer when you're done.
Yeah, it's some researchers at MIT. They fashioned like a 3D inkjet printer to print both liquid and solid at the same time. And so basically in one pass, they were able to 3D print a robot using hydraulics that was able to, when they put a battery and a motor on it, essentially walk right off the printer's table. And so all you needed to do was put a battery and motor on it. Otherwise, everything else was moved via the hydraulic fluid they were able to pump into and then like kind of print around it. And it's pretty impressive that they, literally with just one pass, they're able to print different materials and, fully functioning. It's not like a stand up on its own 2 feet robot. It's kind of like
Not now, but
yeah, not now, but eventually in the future, I'm sure they would, they'd get to that. But yeah, it just has like kind of its own little legs that are bound by a motor that it's able to just kind of scurry off the table. And leave it to a bunch of scientists at MIT to create something like that. But it's pretty cool. 3D printing is advancing. I mean, like you said, with AI is advancing so quickly. Obviously, this is on a different scale, but it's advancing so quickly, and it's cool to see the different applications people are doing, with the tech.
I honestly can't keep up.
Yeah, I know.
And I
it's
try
happening
to.
so fast.
But I mean, when you think to when we first got our first 3D printers, and we're like, "Ooh, we made a little Buddha,"
A boat,
and
yeah.
now we're making robots. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can definitely see this turning to something that's just really super practical. I mean, how long do you think it's going to take until we all have some form of 3D printer in our home, where it's like the new microwave?
Probably under 10 years, I think, maybe even like 5 years. I know a lot of it's being used commercially right now, where they're trying to do it even like bioprinting. They're printing cells. They're like printing like ears and hearts and lungs and. But yeah, I mean, I think if everyone has one in their home, you'd be able to make fixes or print.
Yeah, I was going to say
bowl.
ears, hearts, and lungs. That's cool. But
Yeah.
what I that's neat.
I wanna
Save
print
some
a
lives.
spoon,
But
you
no,
know?
I do. I want to print a new door handle. I want to print a new hinge. I got stuff in my
Yeah.
toilet that's busted.
Right.
I want to print that. I seriously don't need to roam the halls of Home Depot for
Right, or
this
any
one
store
tiny
like that,
little
yeah.
part. I want to just print it out. I mean, I look forward to that day. That'll be awesome.
Well, and there'll be like lists and pages of things you literally can just click on your 3D printer. And we saw some of
Yeah.
these at CES that you can even look on the printer itself, that they've uploaded their own schematics, and you just like go through like, oh yeah, I need that bolt, boom, and it'll start printing it for you.
And tie this into the AI thing. Well, if you have an AI image recognition program, you could just take a photo of whatever it is that's broken,
Yep.
tell the AI, hey, this is broken, and be like, oh, sure. Well, do you want one of these? Sure. Oh, right. It's printing for you now.
Or smart home, it's like, Caleb, your hinge on your door is broken. We've gone ahead and printed you a replacement.
Yeah.
And installed it. So, while you were gone.
Oh, I'm going to be dead by the time that happens, but
Yeah.
it sounds awesome.
Right.
Yay for my kids.
Well, that article is at digitaltrends.com too, so definitely check that out. All right, finally, we need to just bring up Star Wars here. That has happened today. The Rogue One trailer came out today, and this is one of the ones that's going to be like the standalone stories that are in between the actual episodes. And this one is the story of how the rebels stole the plans for the Death Star. And it came out today, and I got to say, I mean, hey, I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm not a super fan. You know, I'm not going to go dressed up as Obi-Wan to the movie, but I definitely will go see the movie.
And be dressed up as Chewbacca. But
Yeah, I mean, that's besides the point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it seems a little bit darker based on the trailer compared to some of the other movies, which I kind of like that, but I'm curious what you guys think about that.
that's what I noticed right away was just like the tone of it. And I went into watching the trailer. I was like, fine. I mean, let's see. And it didn't really have too much of a high hope for like a standalone Star Wars movie. But yeah, the tone of the trailer was like a little bit different than it almost seemed like. Aside from like the soundtrack and the ships they used, it didn't really seem like a Star Wars movie. You know, it could be something that was kind of on its own. So that at least I went into it not expecting to want to see it, and I left watching the 2-minute teaser like, I might check that out actually.
Right.
So
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. There's a moment like halfway through the trailer where they play the sound effect, which is the sort of Imperial alarm sound effect that you hear.
It's like a screeching
from the
animal or
original.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like one of the classic sounds from Star Wars, and also like this sound that like when you hear it, it's just like
It's jarring.
makes the like hairs on the back of your like whoa, like it's a really good alarm sound.
Right.
And yeah,
Yeah.
they start playing that just like kind of out of nowhere, and it's just like what is happening? Like
Here we
it's
go.
just like
Yeah.
freaking me out, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it does look a lot darker. Although I think, you know, that I think they had kind of hinted at beforehand that
Did they?
they were going to
That they were going to take it dark?
Yeah, yeah. And it looks like it's going to be a really good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, at least the trailer is awesome. It's well paced, and it tells you like sort of what's going on a little bit without like you know, really telling you what's going on.
Right.
They have lots of great characters that are packed in there.
Yeah.
So
Caleb, what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, you know, as long as there's no Ewoks, I'm down. Honestly, the Return of the Jedi really it ruined Star Wars for me for a long time.
Really?
Because the Ewoks and you know the song they sing at the end, and it's like
Oh, yeah, that's pretty bad.
it's called Yub Yub, and we had to sing that when I was like
You
fourth
had to
grade.
sing it?
Oh no!
You sang the...
We sang Yub Yub in like
Oh.
I think it was like third or fourth grade, and I was living in Texas at the time, and like
That's amazing.
you know, we sang the worst songs, and I was just I was musically inclined, and I wanted to be like, dude, give me a freaking recorder or something, you know, this is, and we're singing Yub Yub.
Did you have to dress up like
Yeah.
that?
No,
Yeah,
no,
I
thank
wanna
God.
know. Are
No,
there
you know, and
pictures?
the
Like-
good thing is we never performed that in front of people. It was just contained to this one little room at my school in
room of
Texas.
shame.
And it never left there, thank God.
Well,
But
did you like the movie? And then when you had to sing Yub Yub, you kind of like retroactively were like, you know what?
this is,
I don't
yeah.
like the Return of
yeah,
the Jedi
that's pretty
now.
much what it, well, I always thought it was a little bit weird that you know, I mean, I enjoyed watching the Ewoks like smash the AT-ATs with the, or whatever they're called, with the
Yeah.
tree trunks and things like that. And that was neat. But it was the big party at the end, just
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, what just happened to my favorite movies ever? and that's all we had for like, you know, years.
Right.
And,
Yeah,
and
like
yes,
20 years.
And so after the movie was gone, all I had was the Yub Yub song resonating in my head. I'm telling
then you had to sing it,
You
and-
know it's
yeah.
on YouTube right now. You
Uh,
should check it out.
By
And-
the way, it's going to be dubbed under the end of the show.
yeah,
too.
that's what I figured. So you don't have to go anywhere to hear it. But yeah, just imagine a little third grade old, you know, Caleb singing Yub Yub and just
pissed
really,
off.
really, no, hating existence. It was terrible. No, I'm excited. But then again, understand, I haven't seen The Force Awakens yet. And I know everybody gets really upset. To be fair, Rich, our producer, also hasn't seen it. So, and at this point,
Has
even
the
though
movie
the
been
blue
ruined for you guys?
No. I never made it out. Like I had all these grand plans. I wanted to go see it in Dolby Atmos at a really cool theater.
Yeah, I remember you
up
telling me
north,
about that. You
And I
were
had
so
it all
stoked
planned,
about it.
and then everybody just bailed on me, and I didn't want to go by myself.
Fair enough.
I know that sounds dumb, but like I really wanted to share the fun with somebody.
Right.
And it just never happened. And then it was only in crappy theaters. Like I'm not going to go see it at the Laurelhurst, even though you can drink beer and eat pizza.
I saw it out at Edgefield actually, and I had a good time. And I thought the same thing as you. I wanted to see like a nice theater. And I was staying out at Edgefield over Christmas and went and saw it, and I was still at an amazing time at the theaters. Some of the most fun I've had seeing a movie in a long time.
Well, no, I'm sure I could have had a good experience. I mean, this is definitely my hangout.
Sure,
You know,
there's an 80-inch Vizio 4K TV you just
that's
got in.
yeah, I know. And believe me, I have thought about like getting the Blu-ray and watching it there. But even I'm waiting until LG sends us their bad boy OLED TV, or maybe even the new top of the line Samsung that they're going to announce in a few days. Oops, what did I just say?
Spoiler alert.
But no, when I get one of these bad boy TVs and
Did you mean to drop the mic right there?
I will watch it, and I'm gonna make like a whole thing out of it,
Yeah.
you know, and
Star
I-
Wars
now
night.
now
make
that
up for my lost time.
Now that I understand though the trauma that you went through as a child, it makes a little more sense that you're a little.
I
hesitant
need
on-
something to
That's-
really turn this ship around for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, it makes
But
sense.
I mean, Rogue One, haven't seen the trailer. Everybody was excited about it. I'm sure
Yeah.
I will be too once
All
I
right.
finally get
It's
around
cool. They
to
kind of
it.
tinkered with the soundtrack a little bit too, so it's
Yeah.
not just your typical. It's like the same tune and everything, but they almost like paced it a little bit differently. Which
Like sort of a
adds
dubstep thing.
No, they like slowed it down a little
No,
bit. And kind
no
of
dubstep. I think that
Skrillex version of the Star Wars theme.
exactly. I mean,
a
imagine
trance
how
house version.
like Darth Vader's
till the
voice
beat
could get
drops.
up in there, and then you got C-3PO, and never mind.
So what you're creating is some poor youth version of the Yub Yub song.
Yeah, that's
That's
what
really
you're
all
Modern
I'm
describing.
Yub
doing.
Yub song.
I just
I feel
want
like you'd
somebody
see
else to
that
have
in
to
like
experience
Portal
it.
or something. You know, the Portal game was always kind of funny like that. That there'd be some dubstep edition of them dancing at the end.
They did come out with an entire album of Star Wars electronic music. Did you
They
know that?
just came out with that, didn't
Yeah,
they?
they just came
Yeah.
out with it.
Oh wow!
So
And
you
there's
should
some, like,
check it
big
out.
names
It's on
on there.
Spotify.
Yeah.
Go check it out.
All right, well, check that out. All right, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to Trends with Benefits every week live Thursdays at 2:30 p.m. Pacific. You can tune in. We've got our other show tomorrow at 2 p.m., which will be between the streams. So go ahead and tune into that, and we'll be
No more questions. We have to wait one more week for questions, right?
One more week for questions.
Yeah.
Yes. Podcast at digitaltrends.com. You can send in your questions, whatever you've got. We'll get to those next week, and we will talk to you then with another episode.
Dun, dun, dun.